the point guard, the quarterback, the initiator, the orchestrator, and too much of the time he wants to be a three-point shooter. So what did he do last night? Okay, remember, last year he averaged a career high in three-point attempts, 6.3. Well, last night he took 11. It's a lot of threes for LeBron James. And how many times did he drive it all the way to the bucket and to either score it or get to the free throw line? I don't know, 2 or 3 times maybe. I've always told you he's the greatest driver of the basketball I've ever seen, but he doesn't do that much, and you can say he's got to preserve his body a little bit in year 19, and I give you that. But he also knows he's not a very good free throw shooter. In fact, he's a poor free throw shooter by superstar standards, so he starts off 3 of 6 last night, and we've got a bet, and I don't know what it was. You say it's 72 or 3, 73. I think it was 75. That was your initial offer. Yeah, well, whatever, but he's off to the races, right?
Well, he'll go 8 for 8 on Friday.
Okay. And yeah, and he also has a 3 for 11 in him somewhere. You know, and I know that's just who he is. So Russ has a horrendous night by Russ standards, and he winds up a minus 23. But the other hidden note here in the box score is that LeBron and AD weren't great last night because they went up -2s, right?
Yeah.
Which is not great. So, but their running mate, their third star, was minus 23.
Skip, but when you look at it, you think about this. The Lakers had 2 guys in double figures, and the Warriors had 6 guys in double figures. And that's where they won. You get Bielitsa had 15, Iguodala had 12, Damian Lee had 15.
You're talking about bench players.
Yeah,
that's who your 55 to 29 bench.
Right, and then you get Wiggins had double figures. Jordan Poole had double figures. The only 2 guys in double figures for the Lakers were AD and LeBron. Okay, and just for balance on this, remember, last night they're obviously without Ariza, but they didn't have Ellington, they didn't have Nunn, they don't have THT. So there are 4 bench players, which brings us to Carmelo Anthony. We got to see him in purple and gold for the first time, and it was a sight for sore eyes. And yet, you want to talk about a guy who's not bashful. If the ball, if ball touches hands, it's going up. Yes.
I think one time last night he passed the basketball. The other times he's just going to go.
Yeah.
And by the way, he had one weird glitch at the free throw line.
Yeah, I don't know what was that.
What was that? I think we have it. 1:04 left in the third quarter. Here he is. He's going to shoot a free throw, and he just. I don't know. Did he just gag it? Was he trying to do the okey doke? Was it like a globetrotter? I'm going to DQ?
I don't know what he was thinking.
And he didn't know what he was thinking. He kind of lost focus of what he was doing. I don't know. And then he kind of looked around and laughed and said, well, because that's a violation.
Right.
So it was a bad look for the Lakers because it's like, aren't you guys better than that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A guy in year 19 that's accomplished as Carmelo shouldn't make a play like that.
So when Ariza does come back and THT does come back and Ellington and Nunn, I'm afraid Melo's going to be fighting for minutes, right? Because he got, I don't know, by his standards, pretty many last night, right? He wound up with 26 minutes, right? Okay, so that's pretty good. Is he going to get that much run going forward?
I don't know, Skip. And the thing defensively, I mean, they would put him in a high pick and roll, and for some reason he slacks off when the pick and roll guy is Steph Curry. You know you got to hug up with that. I mean, it's the defense. Skip, you can't give up 38 points in the fourth quarter. You gave up 68 points in the second half. With a team that doesn't have a big.
Except for Bielitsa. Who, by the way, on a star-studded night, our man Lil Wayne was there in the front row, and Jack was back in the front row, and Usher was there, and we can go on and on. And we got star power all over everywhere on the Lakers, and we got Steph and Draymond, and we can go. We can even do Dwight and Melo. Lots of stars on the court. Who took the game over? Bielitsa took the a 33-year-old from Serbia who has bounced around this league, he was Sacramento and then Miami a little bit last year, and now he's with Golden State. I didn't even know he was with Golden State, and there he was. In full force, and he goes 15 and 11.
15 and 11.
And who had the most energy in the fourth quarter? Who kept making the hustle plays and the killer plays?
He would get the rebound.
It was Bielitsa.
Because I think I forget who it was, Skip. There was a sequence in which, Avery Bradley had hit a 3, cut it down to like 1 or 2, and then Bielitsa comes right back. I was like, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, he's got guts, and he's got know-how, and he's got savvy.
And Miami was like, where was that last year when you was with us?
I don't know. I don't know, because I used to see flashes of it in Sacramento for a while, and a little bit in Minnesota, but he's bounced around, and yet the unstar took over the star-studded game.
Right.
Which brings me back to what I call free throws, because the word free should be emphasized. And your team goes 9 of 19. So
that's unacceptable.
10 missed free throws, and you didn't shoot that many.
And think about it, Skip. You got bigs. You got LeBron. You got AD. You got DJ. Now, obviously, DJ only played 13 minutes. You got Dwight Howard, and you got a jump shooting team that shoots 11 more free throws than you shoot.
Okay. And so they make 25 out of 30.
Right. And they make 16 more than you made.
You're plus 16 over the Lakers at Staples? And it wasn't because you're getting calls or bad calls or non-calls.
Right.
It wasn't
just making them.
You just didn't make your free throws.
It's that simple, Skip. It's really that simple.
So plus 16 there it's hard to overcome, right? Because it's only a 7-point game.
Right.
So that's a hidden stat. So finally, you step back from this and you say, well, wait a second. You did that, and Steph was having a long, hard night.
Right.
Well, I'm going to give Russ a little bit of credit here, because for much of the game, they were doubling Steph like crazy.
Bazemore did a good job. I
thought Russ did a pretty good job. He was just bird-dogging him, man.
Right.
I mean, he was hounding him as best he could. He was giving it his all on the defensive end. And then it looked to me like the Lakers as a team started to run out of gas in the fourth quarter, because they couldn't stop Damian Lee from just going to the basket. He just went to the basket at will. Well, he's not exactly a superstar, right?
Yeah, Jordan Poole was killing him.
Jordan Poole killed him mostly in the third quarter to set up the run. But remember, the Lakers went to the fourth quarter up 2, but then they just started, because you gave up 38 at home in the fourth quarter. That's no good.
To a jump shooting team. Now, if the team guy, if you talk about if that's Milwaukee with Giannis and Middleton and those guys, if that's Brooklyn, Skip, you can understand, like, okay, man, they got firepower. But to Steph, minus Clay, minus Wiseman, with no big, and so all their points either came from jump shots or the free throw line.
No Clay, and remember, there's no Wiseman and no Kuminga, who was the 7th overall pick, so they didn't have some of theirs also. So if you step back and look at the big picture, Steph Curry last night looks like he spent a lot of off-season time in the weight room, because he is, listen, remember how he used to be skinny little slight Steph? Back in his MVP days, he is really sculpted up. You know, he's buffed up. He's beefed up in his upper body.
Well, that might have hurt him, because he tried to dunk the ball. And he grabbed it. He got the rim. The ball went one way.
Yeah, he disqualified his own shot, right? Okay, but the point was, to my eye, he didn't look as quick as he used to look. He was having trouble separating, because he used to be able to just step back on anybody. Nobody could stay with him. And he was struggling to get open looks. So they did a heck of a job on him. But guess what he did to compensate? He got 10 rebounds. Because he is a little stouter, and he's less afraid to go in there and mix it up.
This is only his eighth career triple-double.
Only his 8th?
So,
wow.
But Skip, look, I thought they did a great job of hounding him, contesting a lot of his shot. Rondo put him on the line for a three-point shot, a three, which really made no sense. But, give those guys credit. They hounded him, and you says, okay, if someone would have told you, Skip, Steph Curry's going to go 5 of 21, and they're going to shoot 36% from the three, you shoot better from the field than they shoot, you're like, okay, we're going to win this game. But when you only have 2 guys in double figures, they have 6 guys in double figures, and your bench get outscored by 26, and you're minus 16 at the free throw line, Skip, you're probably going to lose the game. And when you look, Skip, think about it. Golden State out-rebounded them. A big team with AD, Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan, and LeBron James got out-rebounded when the biggest guy, and he only played about 13 minutes, was Kevon Looney. You can't get out-rebounded by the Golden State Warriors under no circumstance.
Okay, so back to my preseason points to you. If you want Russ to be your point, if somebody besides LeBron has to be the point guard because he needs to play more off the ball, you should play Rondo more. I'm sorry, but I don't know what you do with Russ, because he's going to throw fits if you start reducing his minutes.
Well, how about let him run with the second unit? So you know what?
Is he going to sit still for that?
How about this, Skip? For like the first 6-7 minutes of the first quarter, let him play, and then you let him stay out.
I mean, really, truly, the the best way to utilize him would be in the Manu Ginobili role, coming off the bench with the shot, but he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. But I promise you, it would serve your team best if he ran the shock troops, if he came in and just went bull in China shop with the reserves.
Right. Yes.
And they just attacked.
Yeah,
right? It would change the game.
I would agree with you, Skip, but you know, a lot of times, guys not looking what's in the best interest of me. And that's not in the best interest of him. He believes is in the starting lineup. I agree with you. I believe if you let him run with the second unit, it'd be the shot unit, and he's up and down the court. They can get up and down the court because you got younger legs. LeBron comes in, plays at that pace.
I know.
It would be
fun
great
to watch. And then the other thing, I first guessed this. In your starting lineup last night was a guy who got discarded by the Brooklyn Nets, DeAndre. And he only played, 13 minutes? 13 minutes. And he gave you a quick early basket on a lob dunk from LeBron, right? But other than that, what did he give you? He got discarded. He fell out of the rotation in Brooklyn for a reason, because those guys, Kevin and Kyrie and those guys, love him and James. But the point is, Dwight's so much better right now, and they want Dwight to do what we just said Russ is doing. He comes in with the shock troops to create chaos, right? But last night, he didn't get to play enough, right? Dwight's only in there for a few minutes, right? So, I mean, he and DeAndre played the same amount of minutes. That's no good. No good.
But, Skip, I fought Frank Vogel. You and I talked about this. I said, Frank, what are you doing? Why is LeBron sitting out and AD and Russ playing? Why is AD sitting out and Russ and LeBron's playing? Or why are both of those guys sitting out, but one of those guys are playing? That makes no sense. And I disagree with LeBron. LeBron said what we do on the practice court is more important than what we do on the game court. No, it's not.